Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my hashtag Makenine / hashtag frugal frocks challenge for the year. So the middle of March, which is where we are now, is maybe slightly too late to be thinking about my Makenine plans for the year. But as I was sorting through some spring clothes and thinking about putting away my winter things, it became really apparent that there are a few gaps in my wardrobe, and I thought that it would be a good idea to use the Makenine to address this. Also, as a sustainable designer, as I was with my bridal wear, really like this idea of frugal frocks. And in my spring clean planning, I was wondering what to do with all these wedding dresses that I have sitting around, samples and bits of fabric left over and so on, all of them beautiful silks, a lot of them vintage. So I decided that I was going to use these as part of the Makenine. I'm going to tell you all about my plans. There is a detailed piece over in my journal which I'll link below if you want to read more. Going through my wardrobe and thinking about my personal style and how I like to dress, I feel that there are three key areas that need to be looked at, and these are nightwear and loungewear. I'm putting those together, lingerie and outerwear. I spent a couple of weeks reviewing my nightwear options. Call me crazy, but each time I put on something new to wear at night, the next day I wrote how I'd slept and whether it was comfortable, whether things were, you know, digging in certain places and what the fabric was like and so on. This is probably a bonkers thing to do, but it was the only way I could think of approaching this, because it's not necessarily about something looking amazing. It's about something being really functional but also aesthetically appealing. Looking back over my notes after a couple of weeks, I realised that most of my nightwear left me feeling rather meh. And the most comfortable thing that I have to sleep in is actually just a cotton Victorian style nightie, you know, a granny nightie for want of a better word. So I definitely need to make some kind of granny nightie. Whether I make that as a historically accurate or accurate-ish piece, or I find a pattern, I haven't really decided at the moment, but definitely number one on my list is a granny nightie in some kind of white cotton lawn with maybe a little bit of lace on it. The next thing I found in my analysis is that there's this transition time between day wear and nightwear where you don't want to necessarily get into your night clothes because it's not time for bed, and you don't want to be wearing your, you know, pretty frock or suit or whatever it is that you have to wear, or your work wear, whatever. And, you know, obviously most of us around the world have been spending most of our time at home or indoors, and a lot of loungewear, comfortable pieces have been the order of the day. Now, as I said, I don't really do leggings and tracksuits and so on, and I generally do get dressed every day. So I wanted something that was going to be comfortable, but, you know, slightly glam so that I would feel good. And I've been watching a lot of Dita Von Teese here on YouTube and her house tours, and she has some amazing, I mean, she's amazing, but she had a really lovely sort of pyjama set that I really, really loved. So the next thing that I'm going to be making is some kind of 1940s inspired boudoir lounge set, and I'm making this out of a couple of wedding dresses that I've taken apart. I have, well, I grab it. So I have the sleeve of this here, and I found a pattern to use just to save a little bit of time, which is this one here, the Butterick B6523. So it's this sort of dressing gowny, smoking jacket type top, and these palazzo-ish pants. I might make these a little bit wider, but I'm going to do a puff sleeve. So that's there, and that's the first thing in progress on my Makenine. Not much progress is being made because it's all under low-key. The next area of my wardrobe that really needs to be looked at and developed is the lingerie, the underwear department, the rigging, if you will. I definitely need some slips in different colours. So I have one that I bought from Marks and Spencer's, and I wear it all the time, a black one in some kind of synthetic material. But I'd really like some 1940s style peach ones, maybe black, maybe ivory, but just a few to go under all the dresses. And actually, when you look at extant garments, they weren't lined. We have a huge thing about lining everything these days, but you don't need to line them. If you maybe French seam the insides or bind the insides and then have decent slips to go underneath. So I think the money that I save on lining things, I will spend on the fabric to make some slips, although I do have quite a lot of silk lining in my wedding dresses, so hopefully I'll be able to make something really gorgeous. I would like to also practice some of my embroidery and decorative edge finishing, can't say it, and some of my decorative edge finishes, so that I make them really lovely, and maybe monogram them, because that would be really fancy. Confession time. I like big pants, and I cannot lie. Somehow I have graduated from the teeny tiny little thong type knickers to huge great big knickers. The higher up they come, the better, as far as I'm concerned. And I know that you can buy really decent big knickers in Marks and Spencer's, and they're great, but I really want to make some fancier ones that are a little bit more va-va-voom. And one of the things that I used to do alongside my bridal was to make boudoir lingerie for, you know, the wedding night, the trousseau. So I've made quite a lot of lingerie in my time, but I've not really made it for myself. And I thought, now is the time. I found this pattern from a company called Outerwear. She's on Etsy, and this is the Betty high waist panties, these ones here. I have quite a lot of fabric that I can use for this, although I don't have any power mesh, so I'm looking for some of that. And I've been doing my little pages in my sketchbook. I haven't stuck anything down, but I've been designing some little pairs of knickers. So here's my big pants. There's the back, and I've got this little pair, polka dots there. So I'm going to be putting all of those into my sketchbook, and I've got together some little fabric samples. So this is some knicker elastic that I have, and some lace, and just some Duchess satin. You need stretch satin for this, which I haven't got, and actually there seems to be a bit of a shortage because I think everyone decided to make knickers over lockdown. So I'm looking forward to doing that. It's a PDF pattern that I bought, and that's sort of next on my, that's next on my list. And then also from Outerwear, she does lots of nice lingerie actually, but she does a long line bra, and I'm going to give, my bras that I made were all sort of soft cup satin, like 1920s, 1930s style bras. I, though, need quite a lot of rigging and scaffolding to keep myself buoyant. To go with my big pants and a long line bra, I would like to make some kind of waspy or underbust Merry Widow. I've been looking and lusting after quite a few of the ones that I've seen on What Katie Did, and also Gertie did an amazing foundation garments video, so if you go to Gertie's channel and check that out, that's really interesting. So you know, a waspy is basically a corset, and I've done a lot of corsetry for my bridal, and I'm looking forward to that. I've got so much fabric, silk fabric in all sorts of colours left over from my bridal days, so I'm wondering if I might really get into it and just make myself quite a few, although I don't really need quite a few. But those of you who've been here for a while know me and know once I find something I like, I make it over and over and over and over and over and over again. To complete my new lingerie wardrobe, I want to make some kind of suspender belt. Not one of those thin strips with the suspenders hanging down, but a proper 1940s, 50s style. I haven't found any patterns for that, but if you do know of any patterns for suspender belts, or even any lingerie, do let me know, pop it in the comments below, because I've only really looked at Olulu on Etsy, and I've seen a lot of patterns for bralettes, but that's not the kind of thing that I am looking for. So do let me know, or any really good lingerie companies, just to get some inspiration. I'd really love to hear and have all your suggestions. Last couple of things for my hashtag Makenine makes this year are outerwear. Now, I have a lot of coats, a lot of vintage coats, and not a single one of them is waterproof, and not a single one of them is suitable for those days that are slightly cold and you need some kind of coat, but you know, not really warm enough for a proper winter coat. So I have two things that I want to make this year, and the first is some kind of new look silhouette Dior 1947-ish to 1950s-ish trench coat. That's a very long title, but here's a little drawing of the kind of thing that I'm thinking about, and I want to make it in some kind of gabardine or waterproof fabric, a traditional Mac. I've looked in charity shops. I haven't been able to look in a single charity shop for, it feels like forever, but I've found a couple of vintage trench coats and I always feel really manky in them. So I want to make this much more sort of very early 1950s silhouette for my trench coat, and I'm looking out for a pattern, or I'm going to draft a pattern. I'm going to Frankenhack a pattern, who knows. My number 9 on my Make 9 for 2021 is some kind of rain Mac. Now, I live by the coast and there is a lot of weather. Sometimes we have lovely days. Normally it's blustery and it's damp, and when it's rainy and the storms come in from the sea, it is absolutely horrendous. There is no point trying to use an umbrella here because it just goes horribly wrong about a millisecond after you step out of your door. And to get anywhere where I live, you have to walk along the seafront. So if it's a stormy day, you really are dealing with a lot of weather, hurricane, tsunami style wetness going on. So I found this Vogue pattern. It's actually a vintage pattern that still seems to be reproduced, and I want to make it with a hood attached because I really hate the wind and the rain getting into my ears. I have very bad ears and hearing, so I want to protect my ears. So I'm going to add a hood to this, something that's detachable, and I'm looking at maybe some kind of oilcloth fabric to make this. It's the kind of classic shape that goes with my personal style and will keep me warm and dry and will look really stylish. Thank you for watching today and listening to me talk all about my Make 9 ideas. I'd love to know, are you doing the Make 9 this year? And if so, what are you making? And what do you think of my approach to Make 9? Rather than setting up 9 different things that I want to make, I've really analysed my wardrobe and my needs, and also thought about the Frugal Frocks challenge to make this as sustainable and cost-effective a challenge as possible. I will review this later in the year and let you know how it goes. Do let me know if you have any pattern suggestions particularly for the lingerie. I am really excited about making myself some really nice things to wear under my dresses, even if I'm the only person who sees them. I hope all is good in your world, and I hope you're staying safe and well. I'll see you next Thursday for another video, and until then, happy sewing. Bye, my lovelies. If all things sewing, vintage inspired and DIY style is your cup of tea, and if you've enjoyed today's video, then please do subscribe to my channel and press the like button. I love sharing my passion for dressmaking, and it's truly wonderful to have you share my sewing journey.